Most people think they're bad at conversations because they don't know what to say. And that's not true. In fact, I actually think most people already know enough questions. The real problem is something completely different. Now, after producing podcasts for the last 5 years, after interviewing entrepreneurs, CEOs, millionaires, motivational speakers, and watching hundreds of conversations, I've realized almost everyone makes the exact same mistake, including myself. And once you see it, you'll never have another conversation the same way again. I want you to think about the last conversation that you had. Did you actually listen? Or were you waiting to speak, thinking about your next question, trying to sound smart, trying to impress them, trying to get validation? Were you following a script? Because if you were, you weren't having a conversation. You were waiting for your turn. And that's what most people do. I want to talk about what was probably my worst interview ever, which in the grand scheme of things probably should have been the best interview. And it was the time that I interviewed Les Brown. I had the opportunity to interview one of the greatest motivational speakers alive. And if I'm being honest, I completely wasted it. I was nervous, I talked about myself too much and only had 10 minutes. And I felt like I wasted it. It's actually really hard for me to listen to it just knowing all the things I should have done and didn't. I wasn't prepared, and being nervous definitely didn't help. I wanted him to think that I was smart. Every answer he gave, I was already thinking about what I wanted to say next. I wasn't listening. And something that I feel like we all fall short of doing is performing. Looking back, I don't think he remembers me. And honestly, I don't blame him. That interview changed everything because it really made me reflect on all the interviews that I've done in the past that I've recorded and realize that I'm no different. Now, obviously, I can recognize that it wasn't Les Brown that made that interview bad. It was me. It was my mindset, my ego, my need for validation. I wasn't focused on him. I was focused on myself. And then I realized that's exactly what most conversations look like. Now, I want to show you the 4 things that quietly kill almost every conversation. Whether you're a podcaster, an entrepreneur, a content creator, someone doing man on the street interviews, or honestly, someone who just wants to have better conversations. If you can eliminate all these 4 things, the quality of your conversations will improve almost overnight. And what's funny is I've been guilty of every single one of them. We all have. And the difference is once you become aware of them, you can catch yourself in real time. Every one of these conversation killers is simply attention pointed in the wrong direction. So let's start with the first. Ego. Ego in this sense is when the conversations become about you instead of the person sitting across from you. And the crazy thing is most people don't even realize that they're doing it. They're not trying to be rude. They're not trying to prove themselves. They're trying to sound smart. They're trying to relate. They're trying to impress. They're trying to show that they belong. But every second you're thinking about yourself, you're no longer paying full attention to the other person. And that's exactly what happened in my Les Brown interview. I wasn't listening to Les, and that's why I missed the conversation that was right in front of me. The antidote to ego is simple. Become more fascinated with the person than you are with yourself. Number 2 is assumption. Assumption is one of the fastest ways to misunderstand someone. The moment that you think, I already know what they mean, you've stopped listening. And we all do this. Someone says, I hate school. And immediately we create a story in our head, whether that's, oh, they don't value education, or maybe they were bullied, or maybe they had ADHD, maybe they had a teacher who told them that they'd never become anything. You don't know. And that's why great interviewers never assume. They clarify and they ask, what do you mean by that? Tell me more. Can you explain that? Curiosity replaces assumption. Now, number 3 is distraction. And I remember watching a clip from The Diary of a CEO. Stephen Bartlett was talking to Jefferson Fisher, who's a speaking expert, and he laid this out perfectly. Jefferson had Steve hold onto a piece of red string that represented connection between the two of them, and he was holding the other end, and they were both pulling on it tight. And as Jefferson asked Steve a question, he pulled out his phone as Steve was talking, and the tightness of the string went slack. And he goes on to say that that's the physical representation of connection being lost. But when asked how he felt emotionally, Steve said,
"It felt disrespectful."
Now, I'll add that distraction isn't just looking at your phone, it's being physically present, but mentally somewhere else. You're thinking about your next question, you're wondering what to say next, you're checking your notes, you're thinking about the camera, the lighting, whether you're saying too much. Meanwhile, the guest just gave you the best follow-up question of the entire interview, and you completely missed it because you weren't listening. You were preparing or distracted by God knows what. The best interviewers don't just hear words, they notice moments. And number 4 is performance. The last conversation killer. Performance is the need to look good instead of creating something good. And I struggled with this one for years. I wanted people to think, wow, Justin asks amazing questions. But eventually I realized that that's the wrong goal. My job isn't to impress the guest. My job isn't to impress the audience. My job is to help people feel seen. And the moment I stopped trying to perform, people actually started opening up. The conversations became more natural, the stories became deeper, and ironically, people started telling me that you asked really good questions, not because I was trying to, but because I stopped trying. When you really look at it, all 4 of these conversation killers have one thing in common. They take away your attention from the person in front of you. Ego makes you focus on yourself. Assumption makes you focus on your own interpretation. Distraction makes you focus on everything except the conversation. And performance makes you focus on how you're being perceived. And great conversations only begin when your attention returns to the other person. The biggest shift I ever made wasn't learning better questions. It was learning to care more, because conversations don't start with questions, they start with people. Every single person has a story. Every story contains a lesson, and every lesson has the power to change someone's life, but only if someone cares enough to uncover it. So the next time that you're having a conversation, stop trying to be interesting. Become interested. Stop trying to impress people and try to understand them. And I promise your conversations will change forever. Now, over the next few weeks, I'm going to be breaking down everything that I've learned about high value conversations, how to ask better questions, how to make people open up, how to never run out of things to say, how to create conversations that people actually remember. So if this sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button because we've got a lot to cover.